in Gaza, Israel has also been increasing its airstrikes against Hezbollah's ally Hamas. The UN has condemned attacks on civilians after an airstrike in the north of the territory, which Hamas officials say killed more than 80 people. It's feared others are still trapped under the rubble. Israel has described the strike in the city of Beit Lahia as a precision attack against a Hamas terror target and said the number of casualties had been exaggerated. Well, for the very latest out of Beirut, as well as Gaza and the rest of the Middle East, I'm joined now on the line by Marouf, a journalist based in Beirut, where the Zoom lines, I understand, are a bit shaky. Mr. Marouf, thank you very much indeed for joining us on the telephone line. I hope you can hear me well. Just tell us more about these latest Israeli attacks on Beirut, focusing on Hezbollah's financial network.
Well, just to be very clear, the Qard al-Hassan, which means the good loan, is a co-op bank that services all the Lebanese population. It's a bank that doesn't take any usury or interest on loans, and it is servicing all the sects of the country. It is not the Hezbollah bank. But if it is a legal thing to target a bank in Lebanon because of the claim that it is financing Hezbollah, then we have to go back to 9/11 in 2001 and agree that Osama bin Laden has the right to take down the Twin Towers because of the financing of wars that the United States conducts in the region. It also means that Berkeley Bank in the UK or Citibank in the US, because of their financing of Israeli weapons manufacturers, is also a legitimate target. So the world that we are living in today, we have a choice of either abiding by international law and that this targeting of banks is illegitimate, or it is high season on everybody in the streets of the West. This is the reality that Israel is conducting, is destroying international law. It is destroying the UN agencies that govern that international law. And we are, moving into a reality of lawlessness and the rule of the jungle. And in that situation, nobody should be complaining when there will be bombs blowing up in the streets of London, Paris, or New York.
Well, I mean, what is it, though, that the Israelis are destroying? Because, I mean, banks have virtual operations and exist in cyberspace. So knocking down buildings doesn't actually end a bank, does it?
No, but it kills all the civilians that live around it, just as happened in September 11 when taking down the financial core of the empire governed from the United States. It took out 3,000 or 6,000, whatever number the United States claimed, of civilians. So this is what is the United States and Israel and all the West are condoning. They are condoning terrorizing the Lebanese population, making everybody that lives around those banks have to run away from their homes. And of course, just to point out that this bank is a co-op bank. It is called the Good Loan, and it is the only bank in Lebanon that after the United States and Israel looted the economy of Lebanon with the help of all the collaborating banks 6 years ago, and they looted $40 billion out of the savings of the Lebanese and the Syrian people from the banks here. The Qard al-Hassan, or the Good Deed Co-op Bank, was the only bank in Lebanon that actually gave the depositors, the members of the bank, back their money and kept it. And today, the co-op bank here, the Good Loan, is saying that it has withdrawn all its money from all its branches, that there's no way that the deposits of the Lebanese will be harmed. But again, we see, as you from your question, it is clear that the reason that these banks are targeted is to terrorize the Lebanese people, and that is the modus operandi of Israel, the Zionist colony, and its masters in Washington, Paris, and D.C.
And there have also been multiple Israeli attacks elsewhere in Lebanon beyond Beirut, with one village, I understand, reported to have been hit 14 times in just a few minutes. And yet, despite Israel's airstrikes, Hezbollah continues to fire rockets at Israel. Do we know what capacity Hezbollah has left?
Hezbollah is in its full capacity, and as it has defeated the Zionists in 2000 and defeated them in 2006 when it was much weaker, it is actually capable of defeating them today. Last time the Israelis attempted invading Lebanon in 1982, it took them 4 days to reach from the border to Beirut. In 2006, it took them 33 days, and they couldn't reach a third-line village on the border with Lebanon. And today we're now at almost 20 days since the attempted invasion began, and the Zionists haven't been able to capture one village that's on the border. So what we see is now the United States and the masters of Israel are all collaborating together to bombard the country, bombard Syria, bombard Lebanon, bombard Yemen, bombard Palestine on behalf of their wild dog that is now being taught a lesson by the resistance in Lebanon. The resistance in Lebanon is not going to allow this Zionist colony to destroy the country. And the United States, it seems like, and the West are willing to drag us into a world war just to guarantee this fascist apartheid state continuing in the land of Palestine.
Well, the Americans would say that that's not entirely fair because a US envoy has arrived in Beirut, Amos Hochstein, to discuss possible diplomatic solutions with Lebanese politicians. And I understand that Hezbollah has sent a representative there, Nabih Berri. Do you think the US can stop the Israeli-Lebanon war from getting even worse? Because I mean, on arrival, Mr. Hochstein said it was going to be very tough indeed.
Well, just to clarify to your viewers, Mr. Hochstein is an Israeli officer that served in the Israeli military that is now the special envoy of the vegetable emperor that cannot come out of his bed in Washington, D.C. The Zionists actually rule the United States, and whatever they are bringing here today, it was not a negotiation for peace. It was a proposal for surrender. And Hochstein and all the Zionists in the Washington, D.C., London, and Paris can dream as much as they want to that the Palestinians and the Lebanese people will surrender under the weight of genocide. But that is not going to happen. We are done with the imperial era. And it is now the days of defeat of the empire are looming on the horizon. And we will see between us and the Americans and the West, the battlefield will be the one that decides what's going to happen next.
Mr. Marouf, I want to thank you very much indeed for taking the time to talk to us. And I do hope you're able to stay safe there. Leith Marouf is a journalist based in Beirut, and he was talking to me on the line from there, where I understand Zoom visual lines are all rather a bit shaky.